You know what I don't ever do? I never push my kids to. I always say do the best you can. I was never that kid. My husband too, their dad. We were never like at school, you got to get straight A's. We were never those parents. We were always like, you know what? Give it your all. Do the best you can.
I would say, why did I pay all this money for your education?
In life, if you give it your all and you do the best you can, that's it. That's all you can do.
Why'd you go to college?
Mostly my parents really wanted me to go.
Once again, money on that education.
I'm definitely ready to address some things.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel.
After almost 2 years of silence, YouTuber Olivia Jade joined the Red Table Talk to give her perspective on the college admission scandal that her parents are involved in and to ask for a second chance. But before we start, do not forget to go down below and subscribe to the channel and ring that bell button so you can get notified every time I post. Also, as a quick disclaimer, I just want to remind you guys that everything we discuss here in the channel is my opinion and my opinion only, not to be taken as a fact. Always do additional research from the information that you get here in the channel. Do not send any hate to the people that I'm going to be talking about in this video.
Am I right, fellow adult?
However, I do encourage all of you to go in the comment section and let me know what do you think about the situation. Also, another quick disclaimer is that I have never ever had access to that kind of money that her family has. So my point of view comes from a poor person's standpoint. Take all of my opinions with a huge grain of salt. Olivia Jade is a massive fashion and lifestyle YouTuber. She has over 1 million subscribers on her channel currently. And at one point she had 2 million subscribers allegedly. As well as collaboration palettes with Sephora, clothing collaborations with Princess Polly, and many other brand deals. Her mother is the actress Lori Loughlin. She used to play Aunt Becky in Full House. Her dad is Massimo Giannulli, and he is a fashion clothing designer, and his pieces can be found in Target stores all around the country. Once graduating from high school, Olivia gets accepted into the University of Southern California, a very prestigious university that only has a 16% acceptance rate, and for you to even be considered to get into this school, you need a minimum of a 3.76 GPA. Just as a quick clarification, those values were at the time she got accepted to the school. However, right now, as the time I'm filming this video, these values have changed. Currently, acceptance rate on USC is 13%, and the minimum GPA score you need to be accepted into the school has also changed to 3.79. And it turns out that Olivia Jade is not only brains, but she's also muscle. She got accepted into the university to be a part of their crew team. Because allegedly, according to her resume, she has been doing that kind of sport for a really long time and she deserved to get that spot. And it came as a huge surprise to everyone when she uploaded a video expressing how little to no interest she had to the academics side of the college life, but all she wanted to do was to experience parties and have fun.
And then the whole college thing, yep, I'm going. I'm living in a dorm with a roommate who's so sweet. With work, it's going to be hard. Like my first week of school, I'm leaving to go to Fiji for work, and then I'll be in New York a bunch this year for work and traveling to a different country because I'm creating something with this country, and that's for work. So
I don't know how much of school I'm going to attend.
But I'm going to go in and talk to my deans and everyone and hope that I can try and balance it all. But I do want the experience of like game days, partying.
I don't really care about school.
That happened.
And indeed, she kept posting on her channel. However, most of her content was about her getting ready to go in parties and partying in her room, never talking about her experience as a rower. After filming, editing, and uploading this video, she got a ton of backlash. So she decided to take the video down and upload an apology video.
I said something super ignorant and stupid, basically, and it totally came across that I'm not grateful for college. I'm going to a really nice school, and it just kind of made it seem like I don't care. I just genuinely want to say I'm sorry for anyone I've offended by saying that. I know that it's a privilege and it's a blessing. A lot of people like to attack me for the way I've grown up because it's really different from a lot of people, and so anything I say that's even like remotely just ignorant or bratty or something that I genuinely don't mean, it gets so much backlash.
Just because your parents didn't teach you how to be a decent human being just because you have a lot of money, it doesn't mean that other people have to accept everything you say. Like Emily D. Baker likes to say, you can put the shit back on the horse.
Shit, horse, out. Goodbye.
I hope that you guys accept my apology if I offended you.
Just by her facial expressions, the way that she's smirking, I don't believe for a second that she's sorry, but this is old news. Let's keep going.
I'm here today to announce charges in the largest college admissions scam ever prosecuted by the Department of Justice.
Dozens of rich parents, including Hollywood actors, accused of straight up bribing their kids' way into college.
Parents paying a college prep organization to help their children cheat on SAT or ACT exams, and others paying to allegedly bribe college coaches to help admit the students as athletes regardless of their athletic skill.
Those new lawsuits target both the celebrities involved and the universities named. One mother is asking for $500 billion in damages, saying her son was robbed of a top-tier education.
A new lawsuit has been filed by a student at Stanford University. Kalia Woods is suing the 8 colleges involved and William Singer, the alleged mastermind behind the scheme, saying she never knew the admission system was an unfair, rigged process in which parents could buy their way into the university through bribery and dishonest schemes.
No wonder why she never spoke about the row team, because she has never been in the row team. But you already knew that, because it turns out the FBI since 2011 has been investigating this college admission scheme, and allegedly 30 very wealthy parents were involved in it, to include Felicity Huffman, Lori Laughlin, and her husband. Lori and Massimo paid upwards of $500,000 to get their both daughters into USC by the way of charitable donations, and they were working with a man named Rick Singer.
My job is to life coach kids and families through the whole process of getting into college.
Massimo starts receiving emails from the college inquiring about Olivia.
Hi Massimo, it's been a while and fall has now arrived, so I just wanted to check in and see if your daughter is continuing with the admission process at USC. I know when we last connected you mentioned she was a junior, so I imagine she will be submitting her application this fall. Please let me know if I can be at all helpful in setting up a one-to-one opportunity for her. Customized tour of the campus for the family and or classroom visits. I'd also be happy to flag her application. I look forward to hearing from you. She will be applying. I've been to the school a few times and I have some folks that keep me abreast of the latest and greatest. Thanks for reaching out.
In the legal complaint, there is a mention that his daughter's academic qualifications were at or just below the low end of USC's admission standards. Therefore, it became very clear to them that they would need help to get her into the school.
We just met with our older daughter's college counselor this AM. I'd like to sit with you after your session with the girls, as I have some concerns and want to fully understand the game plan and make sure we have a roadmap for success as it relates to our daughter and getting her into a school other than ASU. If you want USC, I have the game plan ready to go into motion. Call me to discuss. I need all the other information on her so I can finish her resume and add a role club to her profile based off where she lives. Maximo, I need transcript, test scores, email address, cell phone number, and home address ASAP. Do you have the transcript? Oh shoot, can you call today and get her transcripts? Tell to walk over to and see if she can get them. Or maybe you could call first. I think school might be closed at the moment.
And allegedly, once he got information, he made Olivia a student profile, a resume, but he still needed one more piece for this puzzle.
It would probably help to get a picture with her on a ERG in workout clothes like a real athlete too. Fantastic. I'll get all.
Obviously, Olivia complied, posed for the picture, and as a result, she got accepted into this school.
Good news. My daughter is in SC. Bad is I had to work the system.
As the FBI closes in on them, they started auditing the nonprofit company where all of these parents were sending their money to get their kids into the colleges they desired. Singer started getting in contact with the parents and let them know what was going on.
So I'm calling up because I just want to make sure give you a heads up that so my foundation is being audited, okay? Which, as you know, is normal, yeah? And so they're looking at all the payments. So they asked me about your 2 payments of $200,000, huh? And of course, I'm not gonna say anything about your payments going to Donna at USC to get the girls into USC through Crew. So sure, that's for sure, right? I just want to make sure our stories are the same because, yeah, and that your $400K was paid to our foundation to help underserved kids. Perfect. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we are on the same page in case, who knows if they will call or they don't. Perfect, got it. Okay.
And then for Olivia's misfortune, a counselor from her former school called for a routine checkup on the students in USC. USC basically told that counselor that Olivia had been flagged as a crew member for their crew team, and the counselor was very confused because she says that she didn't have any knowledge of Olivia being in any crew team in the past. I'm not going to read the entire transcript of the conversation, but I do want to read one part and you will understand why really soon.
Conducted a routine counselor call with USC to check up on a dozen of applicants again this year. When we got to, our representative said she was flagged as a recruit for the crew team. I told him I had no knowledge of involvement in the crew, and based on what I knew on her video blogging schedule, highly doubted she was involved in crew.
I wanted to read this part to you guys because I want to show you a clip of a YouTuber explaining how much dedication it takes to be a high echelon athlete who gets accepted into a college under athlete status.
I'm especially annoyed because if they took somebody else's spot on the crew team, that's extremely upsetting because just how much work it takes to get to that level, to get on that team, earn a spot on that team, and get scholarship money. I think back to what I had to do. It was my whole life. I literally played club soccer from the time I was in middle school, and I never stopped. I missed homecomings, I missed proms, I missed like important dates. I didn't have time to even have friends. The only friends I had were on my soccer team. I didn't have time to have a social life. I couldn't go to Friday night football games, and anytime I had to study, I used to do homework on the way to soccer practice every single day after school, and I would leave from high school to go to my soccer practice. That's how much time and effort it takes to get to the top tier level of sports, which USC is 100% a top tier team for crew, for soccer, for any sport. If you go to USC, you are an incredible athlete, and there's no way you didn't work so many hours and put so many hours into it that this is straight up annoying.
And knowing what I know now about posting videos on YouTube, how much time does it take to film, edit, and upload the videos, Olivia would not have any time to be posting on YouTube if she actually had the dedication necessary to become an athlete of the echelon needed to get into USC. Although she never used a scholarship once accepted, she still took a valuable spot from an actual athlete who could have benefited from this opportunity. Finally, the FBI comes out, starts making arrests, and you will never guess where Olivia was when she found out her parents were getting arrested. If you guessed the Bahamas in a yacht owned by one of the trustees of USC, you are correct. You get a brownie point. Lori and Massimo were accused of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and 1 count of money laundering because they paid upwards of $500,000 in bribery money.
For that amount of money, just buy a smarter kid.
And initially, they pled not guilty to the charges. But if found guilty, they could have been looking at a long time behind bars. Olivia went silent and stopped posting in her YouTube channel. She quit school, and the brand deals that she had started dropping her. But about a year ago, even though she was very silent, she decided to post on her Instagram a picture of her flipping major media outlets, and she tagged them on the post. And while her parents were fighting the charges and she kept losing popularity very quickly, she tried to come back by posting a video titled Hi Again.
Obviously, I've been gone for really long time. I'm legally not allowed to speak on anything going on right now.
And basically that was it for this video. She just said that she wanted to come back. She didn't know when. Yeah, that was a very weak video that was really unpopular as well. Shortly after that, she posted a regular everyday routine video. In this everyday routine video, she didn't address anything. She just acted like nothing was going on, and actually it worked for her. It was not as unpopular. Finally, after about a year of fighting, in 2020, Lori and Massimo decided to plead guilty to the charges.
Laughlin pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, while Giannulli pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud and to honest services wire and mail fraud.
But the biggest outrage came with the sentencing.
In their plea agreement, Laughlin, 56, agreed to serve 2 months and pay a $150,000 fine, along with 2 years of supervised release and 100 hours of community service. Giannulli, meanwhile, would serve 5 months in prison, pay a $250,000 fine and 2 years of supervised release and 250,000 hours of community service, reported Fox News.
And if this sentencing is not outrageous enough to you, there is more. The place that she's going to be serving her sentence is almost like a spa. They have a recreation program with Pilates, stretch, ab class, cross training, yoga, croquet, ukulele classes, songwriting, jump rope, calligraphy, and beading. They also have coffee hours, and they serve brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. This is extremely irritating to me, to know that these people are so rich that they don't get to pay for what they did just like everybody else. They are so privileged that they have this kind of facilities for them. Now that mom is catching up with her fitness and having some mimosas, and dad is serving a unfairly short amount of time, Olivia decided to reach out to Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow Smith, and Adrienne Benfield Norris to join them at their Red Table Talk. And to be honest, I found a whole lot of issues with this interview, and I want to point that out as we go. Adrienne mentions that she's uncomfortable with the fact that a white woman like Olivia has chosen a talk show with 3 black women to come and look for redemption.
I just found it really ironic that she chose 3 black women to reach out to for her redemption story.
I do want to know your opinion about that part, because to me, since they are public figures and they have a talk show, I didn't really look at it that way. And by seeing how Jada behaved during the interview, I can completely see why she would want to be there, because Jada is very compassionate. As Olivia comes in to start the interview, it is completely clear that Adrienne is very uncomfortable with the entire situation. Right off the bat, Olivia expresses how she feels about her parents being in prison. However, I just kept remembering the length of their sentences and what kind of facility at least her mother is in, and I just could not feel bad for her.
There is no justifying or excusing what happened, because what happened was wrong.
This is the very first irritating statement that she makes, at least in my opinion. Referring to what they did as what happened makes it sound like it was all an accident. This was not an accident. The right way to address it was to say what we did was wrong. There is no justification to what we did, because the only thing that you can say happened, quote unquote, is that they happened to get caught.
But I think what's so important to me is like to learn from the mistake, not to now be shamed and punished and never given a second chance.
As much as I do agree that maybe it is time to start giving her a second chance, this interview kind of changed my mind on that. And I'm going to let you guys know exactly why by the end of this.
Because I'm 21, I feel like I deserve a...
Well, never mind. I guess this is exhibit 1, showing how entitled she feels because she's 21, she deserves a second chance. You don't get to tell people when you deserve a second chance. People need to be ready to give you a second chance. Jada asked Olivia if Olivia attempted to go back to school right after her parents got indicted.
When I got home, I just felt so ashamed. I was like, I can't go back there. This is wrong. Yeah, I never went back. I was too embarrassed.
Was she though? Was she really very embarrassed not to try to get back to school? Again, take this all with a grain of salt. However, allegedly, while her parents were pleading not guilty and trying to fight this whole thing, media outlets were reporting something completely different than her being ashamed and not wanting to get back to school. Olivia Jade Giannulli wants to return to USC while her parents Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli fight over charges that they paid $500,000 in bribes to get her into the university. She didn't get officially kicked out and she is begging the school to let her back in. Despite the social media influencers' wishes, she is reportedly aware that there is virtually no chance that the Los Angeles-based university will allow her to resume taking classes.
Shouldn't have been there in the first place, clearly, so there was no point in me trying to go back.
However, based on what we just read, she did try to go back, allegedly.
I'm really sorry that this happened, or I really own that this was a big mess up on everybody's part.
Again, she is playing with the words, saying that this happened when they actually did it. And then she's saying that she owns up that this was a mess up on everybody's part, but she is talking about it as a third person. So is she including herself in this? I don't understand. Please, somebody in the comment section, let me know, what do you make of that statement?
Like, a huge part of having privilege is not knowing you have privilege. So when it was happening, it didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel like, that's not fair. A lot of people don't have that. I was in my own little bubble, focusing about my comfortable world. I never had to look outside of that bubble.
Although in the beginning of this interview, she showed entitlement by expressing how she feels that she should get a second chance because she's 21, I do commend her for acknowledging that she does have a whole lot of privilege.
I know that sounds so silly, but in the bubble that I grew up in, I didn't know so much outside of it. And a lot of kids in that bubble, their parents were donating to schools and doing stuff that advantage. There are so many advantages. It's not fair and it's not right, but it was happening.
This is definitely on her parents, but at the same time, I feel like she is aware that that's not fair and that's wrong. So why would she sit there and let it happen?
You have a clear understanding of what white privilege really is now.
I understand that just based off my skin color, I already had my foot in the door and I was already ahead of everybody else.
I have a huge problem with this statement because I feel like this interview is trying to tackle different issues than what the issue at hand is. Yes, she is white. Yes, she has money. But her getting into the university had nothing to do with that. And it had all to do with how deep her parents' pockets were. And eventually, Adrienne backpedals and clarifies that this situation is indeed about financial entitlement.
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with everything that we have to deal with as a community, and I just don't have the energy to put into the fact that you lost your endorsements. You know, or you're not in school right now. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be okay because your parents are going to go in and they're going to do their 60 days and they're going to pay their fine and you guys will go on and you'll be okay and you will live your life. And there's so many of us that it is not going to be that situation. It just makes it very difficult right now for me to care.
I completely agree with Adrienne on this part. Although the narrative throughout the interview was a little off to me, I do agree with her that there are so many other problems out there than Olivia Jade's rich people problems and her mommy and daddy's 2 to 5 months prison sentences with Pilates, coffee breaks, and brunch weekends.
I think what was hard for me too is I worked my ass off in high school. I wasn't slacking in high school. I don't want to discredit myself to the point where I was like, I have all this and then also I didn't care. Like, I really did care. I was always a very involved student.
I went to the Google machine and I tried to find her SAT scores or her GPA to see how involved of a student she was.
Hey, what are you looking for?
I couldn't find anything, so I guess we have to take her word for it. However, I found this as well.
But I'm also literally never at school, that I think my class doesn't even, and maybe they forget I go there.
I think that I put a lot of trust into a person that claimed their profession was college counseling. And it led me in a wrong direction. And it's not to shift blame, but it's just to explain, like, I wasn't aware of what was going on.
How was she not aware of what was going on when she posed for this photo? And also, I found some stuff that make me believe that she was aware of the money transactions as well. Again, take this all with a huge grain of salt, but I found some text messages within the paperwork of their case that kind of implies that she was somewhat aware of the situation. I found these text messages around Massimo's emails and Lori Laughlin's emails. Take this with a grain of salt and make of this whatever you will. I'm not saying that this is confirmation whatsoever. However, if it is, it's pretty sketch.
And my son knows zero. That's why I don't want anyone to know. I'm happy they are close, but I pray you didn't tell. You're not replying, and that makes me nervous. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. She does know that Rick helped, like a college counselor should. Did you discuss money with her? He has helped her as well. We don't have a lot of secrets here. She has been an integral part of all discussions, start to finish. Whatever you do with is your business. I told no one about us for a very big reason. Sounds like you shared that with or around her.
And there's nothing else in this interview that made me feel like what she was doing there had any purpose besides just talking about her feelings. She never talked about the photo that she took in a rower machine. She never talked about having access to her final application. She never walked anyone through what she actually knew about the whole situation. And I honestly expected Willow to be more vocal on this interview as the situation is more relatable to her, but she barely opened her mouth the whole time, and this is the only thing she said.
So it's kind of a sus thing to say right now because we've been talking deep for so long, but I love the color of your suit.
Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Did you watch the interview? Are you ready to forgive Olivia and start watching her YouTube channel? Let me know down below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to drop a like. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel now and ring the bell button so you can get notified every time I post. Also follow me on my socials. They will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next upload.